We're live, mate.
Yeah, we're good to go.
Perfect. Yep.
Well, here we are, and good evening. I should stop saying that. Good whenever you're listening to this. Obviously, unless you are watching it live on Facebook. This is episode number 6, and I think our last episode of series 2 of the Lily May Still Parents podcast. My name is Dan. How are we, everyone? Ryan, how are you, sir? Ryan from the Lily May Foundation.
I'm all good, thank you, Dan. I'm all good, and yes, you're absolutely right. Can't believe actually we're at the end of series 2. It's bizarre, isn't it, that we've got to the end of that?
Yeah. We when did we do the first one? It was December, wasn't it? November or December?
The first one was the beginning of December or the end of November, and then obviously we moved through to. It's
become part of my lockdown life now. This doing this podcast has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly, lockdown life. I think we keep saying it, but we've got to start getting live in the boozer.
Yes, I know. Well, with every week that we say it and then don't do it, I think more places are opening and they're letting more people in. Maybe we should do it in Hungary. If you've been watching the football, have you noticed they have a full stadium at the Euros?
I know, it's madness, isn't it? And then obviously we're allowed, 45,000 this week, and then semi-final 60,000, and then July the 19th they'll push us back another 4 weeks.
Well, yeah, we weren't allowed 40,000 until they threatened to move the final away from London, didn't they? All of a sudden, no, you can come.
Yeah,
come. There we are.
Yeah, so hopefully July the 19th we'll be able to start. Well, we could actually do a live from the boozer now. I reckon 100% first episode, series 3.
Okay.
Live from the pub.
All right.
Unless Boris. It's not Matt Hancock anymore, is it? So unless Boris decides that he wants to,
a little bit awkward.
Yeah. So yeah, I had to drop that in because what a plonker.
Yeah, there's been quite a few memes going around in your WhatsApp groups over the last 24 hours of that, haven't they?
Yeah.
So here we are then. We are also joined, as ever, by Matt Whitehouse. How are you, Matt? Now, if you're watching, Matt's looking quite tanned. We always give him a bit of stick for this, but he's definitely out there. Getting the sunshine in.
It's just like I said already, it's just the job, unfortunately. When I start getting, as Andy will testify to, when you're a sports coach and you get around this time of year, you're
out there in the sun.
You're outside, and I tend to brown quite quickly. So
because Ryan sent me a message the other day saying, I can't believe how much Matt's changed since we started doing the podcast. He's had his teeth whitened, he's got his suntan on the go. He's really getting into it.
Like Ross from Friends.
But good to see you, Matt. And we are joined this evening by our guest, who is Andy Riley. He's over in Ashby in the East Midlands, near my old. I'm originally from Loughborough, although I don't consider myself from there anymore. I've been in Birmingham all my life since I was an adult. My kids have got Brummie accents now. So how are you, Andy? Are you well, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Nice to join you on here this evening. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us. Now, straight away, because myself and Andy only met just literally just a few moments before we went live tonight. So you have recently, I believe during lockdown, moved back to the UK. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I was living in New Jersey, living the dream, and then lockdown and COVID put an end to that. So, I've been doing bits around.
Have you moved back because of that?
Yeah, mate. So I lost my job out there because of COVID. I was working at an amazing place, but COVID put an end to that. They couldn't guarantee work, so
yeah,
I had to come home. But it's been it's been a blessing in disguise, to be honest with you. I've got to start this, Impactivity. So
that's cool.
I like a blessing in disguise. Yeah,
I like that attitude straight away. It's the cup half full mentality, isn't it? Now, the reason you're on tonight is Matt actually reached out to myself and Ryan just a few days ago about getting you on as a potential guest. So, Matt, I would like you to do the honours of giving Andy, or you can do it between the two of you, how you came to know each other, what your relationship is, and why we've got you on the podcast tonight.
Yeah, so I've got a friend of mine who have I gone? Are you still?
No, you're still there. My screen changed too. Yeah.
Okay. Basically, along the guy who I grew up living across the road from. Basically, he's a friend of Andy's, and he got in touch with me and said that Andy was doing was doing starting this business, and it was all around mental health and helping people and men's mental health. So this was probably a couple of months ago. The conversation first came up with Chris, and obviously we had a lot of guests sort of lined up in a sense with the podcast. So I said to Chris that, you know, eventually I'd like to get Andy on, and me and Andy only spoke for the first time last Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good conversation, and he introduced me to his company, and from there I suppose Andy can really go in and tell you exactly what he's looking to do at the moment. So.
Yeah, of course. So basically, Impactivity was born out of my story with mental health. I think me and Ryan were speaking before the podcast started about how men struggle to open up, and I've been guilty of that since I was about 15 years old. So I'm 6'8". I'm a rugby player, and when I was at high school, I was immediately put into you're the big man, you're the shoulder to cry on sort of category of people. And when you're young and you're going through, I don't know, any sort of stress, I feel like you'll listen to any guidance you're being given by older people. So when I was told, you know, you've got to be that shoulder to cry on, that's what I just embodied straight away. And I'm 28 now, so 13 years on, I was still doing that, and it was becoming detrimental, but I didn't know any different up until just before Christmas this year. I fell into depression, and I was in a really bad way, and it was that forced me to talk to someone. So a couple of days before Christmas, I went to the doctors to speak about what was going on inside my head, how I was feeling, and they diagnosed me with depression. Like we said about New Jersey, it's like a half, cup half full sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was sort of a weight off my shoulders when I had something, when I had a name given to what was going on with me. And I was like, it was a sink or swim sort of moment. And I decided to swim. And I was like, how can I make a difference with what's going on with me? And how can I make sure that nobody has to go through what I've gone through to discover that there is help out there? And that's when I was like, right, we're going to create this company. So I reached out to the Prince's Trust in January on their enterprise program, explained to them that this is what I want to do. I want to use my passion, which is sports coaching, and get people talking about mental health. And that's where it's came from, really. And I just want to make a difference. I want to use my story and give people role models. Me and Ryan were talking and saying, yeah, it's amazing that there's people like Tyson Fury, all these Prince Harry, all these celebrities coming out right now and talking about mental health. But I think things like this tonight are even more important, because we're just four normal lads having a conversation about mental health. And I think that is really important. So hopefully there's other people listening to this tonight who will go home and have conversations with their mates down the pub or at their sports teams.
I think brilliantly well said. What is your, if anyone, by the way, would like to reach out to you or get in touch with you or follow what you're doing, how can people do that?
Yeah, so Facebook, it's Impactivity, Talking Without Limits. It's the same on Instagram, Impactivity TWL. And I've shared the Lily May Foundation stuff, so you should be able to find me on that. So, yeah.
Also, I have to say it, 6'8".
Yes, mate. Hey, it's not a lie either. Not catfishing you.
No, that's quite interesting, because Matt, you're quite tall as well, aren't you? Ryan says, because we actually haven't met yet, and I'm not the tallest of people. You're like a full foot, I think, taller than myself.
Yeah, I'm about 6'2". Yeah.
And you mentioned, it's interesting because one name that you mentioned there is somebody that over the last, Tyson Fury. I'm reading his autobiography at the minute. And he's an amazing character, and especially, I guess, fits in well with your field as well, mental health, especially around sports. Now, I'm one of those people that like to say, I was a fan of Tyson Fury before he had all the hype. You know, when he was punching himself in that fight, that famous clip back in the day. And the journey that he went on and the comeback and his openness when he was, I think the first time I really saw him open up about it was when he went onto the Joe Rogan podcast a couple of years ago. This is before, or as he was embarking on his comeback. And he has been a great advocate for mental health. Part of what happens, I think, purely because he's a big guy and he's opening up that way. Lots of people, it's just an easy target to give stick to. The reason why I'm saying this is there a link? Because when you're a big guy, you're very confident, do people, is there what, it's not a cliche, but do people maybe approach you differently, and because you automatically assume because you're big and all of this, you've got life sorted, everything is fine mentally, you don't have a problem. Oh, he's big, he's strong, he's tough. You know what I'm getting at here?
Yeah, 100%. I think automatically people are pigeonholed, and you look at people like Tyson Fury, like myself, you're automatically, oh, look at him, 6'8", he's massive, he's probably one of the hardest people in the room, sort of thing. Whereas deep down, like, I'm dying to open up. I'm dying to have a conversation and have someone listen to me. And I think, to be honest, if I'd have been 15 and Tyson Fury was embarking on his comeback when I was 15 and I had someone like that to look up to, in a way, I don't think I'd be having this conversation this evening. But I think it's so important that there are people coming out right now and saying it's okay to be, I think just men in general, we tend to think we're the carriers of everything. We want to look after everyone, but we sometimes forget to check in with ourselves and have conversations like this.
And especially over the last, we keep coming back to things like, it's very simple, and I don't want to pigeonhole us too much, but the whole pub thing. I haven't seen Ryan in over a year. Like I say, I've never met Matt. And that whole thing of, there are times I didn't really feel like I struggled too much during the first maybe 8-9 months of it all, because I was fortunate, I guess, at the time where I was still actually able to go into my place of work due to the job that I was doing. But it's since in 2021, since the second one, and my personal circumstances have changed. And then it kind of really hit me. So it was almost like the second wave lockdown and third wave was the time when I actually went, oh, actually, I haven't got it all figured out. Because the first time you do sort of think, oh, there's an air of invincibility. Oh, everyone else is struggling, but I feel okay. That must mean I'm Superman. When really, and I'm going to swear, sorry, that's just a load of bollocks, isn't it? You've just got to, you've got to come back and check on yourself and do things like that.
I think we're jumping back to Tyson Fury and linking it almost to what you've said there, Dan, as well, is that what he did, I mean, his media department played it very, very well. Because when he came out talking about how he suffered with his mental health, how he spoke about it, the time when he did that was a time where mental health mental health illness, I suppose, was very public anyway at the time. And I suppose because of like Andy said there, the hype of Tyson Fury, and for those who didn't remember him prior to him being the sort of big sort of star that he is now, because let's be honest, he's
an entertainer, isn't he?
He's an entertainer, and I think a lot of people really disliked him. But actually, I think he changed. People's perceptions of him changed completely when he opened up about his mental health illness.
I was one of them.
Yeah, and I was as well. For me, I was. Yeah. And I think and obviously because of the nature of the charity that that we are and stuff, I think when he was very open as well about the fact that his wife had lost a baby, and that he felt powerless to help. Well, it just goes to show that I don't know how tall Tyson Fury is, but I can't imagine he's far off you, Andy, to be honest.
He's about that, isn't he? I think.
Anyway, it goes to show that it doesn't matter who you are, that mental health illness can, or issues that affect your mental health, doesn't matter who you are, they can get it, it can get hold
absolutely
of you.
And you have to fight through that fog, I guess, from people who are cynical. That's who they are, aren't they? There was a lot of people, I think you just said, and Matt, also, you weren't massively keen before, but as things went along, I had a similar conversation with a friend of mine, Lucas, who was didn't like him at all. And when I spoke to him we were driving to a funeral in Wales, it was about 18 months ago. And we started talking about him in the car, and he was really against him. And I explained, the journey he'd gone through. He just thought it was all bluster and the showmanship. And I'm saying there's a real sort of deep emotional intelligence to this guy that needs more ears on it. And thankfully, due to his status and everything that's happened with him, people are hearing that now. And he changed his opinion on it too. Was that the same? Was that the same for you, Matt? Was there a particular why? What was it? Was it the showmanship? Was it?
You said you're reading his book. I finished his book.
All right, show off.
And no, but I don't know. That was ages ago. I don't know if it's the one.
What page are you on?
Yeah. It might be the same one you're reading. He's got a new one out, right?
Yeah, he's got a couple, hasn't he? It's the one with
anyway.
the front cover is the one with him and his beard and the big,
It might be. You might have actually read the one I haven't read today.
Okay.
So yeah. I think it was, as we said, just the whole bravado of him and
bravado, yes.
And the way that he came across. But
when he's so open when he talks about it, but so honest,
and that's the thing. And from what I read in his book, he said that it was a way to cover his weakness up.
Just about to say that, Matt. You use the word bravado, and isn't that what a lot of men do?
Yeah,
a bit of bravado, or the jokey person, when actually the jokes are a cover up for insecurity or issues.
And it's interesting because I tell you all to listen. I listened to a podcast this week. A guy called Andrew Tate. I don't know if you've ever heard of him or not. He was a kickboxer, and he's basically become. He's now a millionaire. But listen to it. And Ryan, if I know you well enough, it will piss you off completely, right? But this guy. I mean, listen, this guy is full. Like whatever you think about the bloke, you can't say that he doesn't say it as it is. But I disagreed with like 99% of what he had to say, and he went. Wow. And we're going back to what people, what Andy was saying about opening up and saying this and things like this, and the whole. He had a theory that men are, what did he say? Men are depressed because of the life they now lead, and because of how they've been made to feel within society. That's basically what he said, and he said that no one. He said he didn't believe in depression, didn't believe in it at all. He just said that basically that it was one of those things that he felt like, but I couldn't get it. I just couldn't get near it. But like going back to Tyson Fury, I just feel
what was his name again?
Andrew Tate.
Okay.
It was on a podcast called the James English Show.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
okay,
like I said,
I'll check that out.
It's kind of completely the opposite to how Tyson Fury was. Like Tyson Fury came out, talked about how it made him feel.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's, I think a lot of it boils down to personality and your own vernacular. He's very easy to listen to as Tyson, and it's thankfully he's so honest and so open with it and engaging to listen to it. It's not always the case with that. So, but different people, different ways of their own interpretations of what is said. So obviously you need these people. You need more. It's why we're here. Andy, the reason why we originally started this, obviously with Ryan and Amy and the Lily May Foundation, we're still parents talking to people who'd gone through baby loss, but also it was from the perspective of us lot, the guys, the boys, and everything around that. And that conversation still needs to continue. So it's a good thing that we've done this. And I think over the last, 8 months or so that we've been going, and this is the end of the second series, the 12. So we've covered a lot of topics, and there's a lot of themes that we keep coming back to, but the one that is overriding above most things is that whole guys talking to each other and to do it more. And then once the podcast is over, pick up your phone, text your mate, check in on them. And by the way, while we're doing this, if anyone would like to drop a message, if you are watching live on Facebook, feel free to do so in the comments. Or if you are listening to this later, you can also get in touch and we can get you on and deal with your question on the next one. Are we giving Matt a bit of stick about next Saturday, Ryan?
The fact that he got a nail in his leg.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
running down the canal, trips over, hurts himself, has to end up in hospital, and has 2 stitches in his ankle.
So to bring everyone up to speed, next Saturday, which will be the 3rd of July. Wow. Ryan got in touch with me yesterday and said, Dan, do you fancy doing the Wolf Run? Which is it's a bit of a 10 kilometers obstacle course, lots of mud, lots of running.
Yeah.
And I said, only if Matt's doing it. And then Ryan said that you'd broke your toenail or something.
Do you want to see the pictures? Am I allowed to show you the pictures?
He's got them ready, look.
He's not biting or anything, Dan. He's not biting.
No. Listen, I am
he's still biting as well.
I am completely biting. Absolutely. So there's my hand. You can see that. That was my hand.
Okay, for anyone obviously not watching live, listening to the recorded version, Matt has just held up a prosthetic hand from a movie set prop.
And that was my leg. That's the hole in my leg.
Oh, that's quite a hole, to be fair. All right, you're off the hook.
Yeah. How did I do it? Because I'm clumsy, probably. That's the main thing. I was just running along the Warsaw Canal, and the only thing I can think is that the Warsaw Canal hasn't got a towpath. And I think what's happened is in the winter it's mud. In the summer it's just a dusty path. And I was running towards a bridge, and I think what's happened is as the bridge just turned from the grass into the concrete's higher than the grass, and I've just clipped the concrete, fallen over, nail went into my hand, pulled that out, and then realised I walked up to the top of the main road to get Rob, my best mate, to come pick me up, and I realised there's a massive hole in my leg as well. So.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Exactly.
Okay, so no Matt at the Wolf Run next week. Ryan, what is the Wolf Run for anyone who doesn't know? Why are we doing it, and what is happening?
Okay, so the Wolf Run was actually, we were due to do it last year as part of the 10-10-10 challenge that the charity had set up, which was 10 bereaved men doing 10 events over 10 days throughout 2020. Obviously, we had a lot of events postponed because of COVID. So a lot of them were then pushed into 2021. And we are actually one of the, we are the benefiting charity actually for the Wolf Run next Saturday in July, and also the Winter Wolf Run as well. So it's basically, like you say, it's a 10K run. I wouldn't even say run really. It's like an obstacle, run a bit, swim a bit, wade through mud, and it's like going on a bear hunt basically. And then and it's just a bit of fun really, that we're all going to be doing it as a team and sort of pushing each other through, because there'll be things that can challenge people. I mean, I know certain parts where you have to go through tubes, and to be completely honest, I get quite claustrophobic, so I don't particularly like that sort of stuff. But I think the whole sort of thing about it is obviously working as a team and helping each other through it. And if we're struggling or what have you, just getting around as a team and really using sport, I suppose, like obviously we've got Andy on for a reason, and using sport and activity to help highlight that we are stronger together and that's one of our sort of hashtags really, that we're stronger together as a group and as a team.
Andy, are you joining us next Saturday? Obviously with
this wasn't chatted about before.
We thought we'd throw it on you with your background too and everything, positive mental health through sport. I was hoping, because you're the sort of, you're a big lad, you got a big deep voice, and I if you were shouting at me, "Oi, Baldy, run faster, get over that wall, you idiot," I'd probably do it. But what I'm getting at here is that is probably not the sort of message that you would give to people when they approached you and they would speak to you. But how do you sometimes deal with it's like tough love, but you've got to give that support to people and also get people who maybe go through a tough time and they're not that active? How do you convince people that, I mean, it's a bit of a silly question really, but everyone knows that exercise is a good thing, not only physically, but more and more these days, everyone's realizing I was having a chat with someone in the gym the other day, and it was, I wasn't really doing much, he was, and I hadn't seen him for years, and he's in amazing shape. And I said, is it hard for you to stop doing this because in case you lose it, and then it's a bit of it's like falling off a cliff, the confidence goes a little bit. And he said, the reason why I do it is not for my look, how I feel in a mirror. It's purely these days, now he's over 40, for how he feels in his head. Yeah. And so how do you talk to people about this when they approach you maybe for the first time?
Firstly, mate, with my fitness, you'd be dragging me around the Wolf Run course. So I wouldn't be shouting at you. But I think the thing is, especially with the way I'm operating the coaching sessions, it's about having fun and achievable goals. I'm not expecting 30 men to turn up and be, top athletes. I want people from all walks of life to come and join in. So it's not about, going out, winning the Champions League sort of thing.
I didn't mean it from like a competitive state. But sorry to butt in. It's just to start people on that journey. Yeah. Who, they might be looking at you to give them that inspiration. And it's a bit of it's quite a tough ask, because they're looking at you maybe to help change their mentality of things. And it's about encouraging them to take that first step, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think that's all about becoming part of the team. Me and Ryan were talking about it before the podcast. If you look at any charity, when they're doing fundraising things, you'll see that it comes back to realistically some form of physical challenge, be it like jumping out of a plane, wolf runs. I know I'm taking a group of men for Big Men Can Talk up Snowdon in a few weeks.
Oh, wow.
And I think it's just something to do with just being part of that team. And I've grown up playing in sports teams and being part of a team. And I think you start conversations immediately. It doesn't have to be about mental health. It's just building a rapport with someone. You don't have to have those important conversations straight away. And I think that's important to stress. Build a friendship, build trust first. Like, I wouldn't walk into someone I've only just met, like in a pub, and be like, hey, this is what's going on with me right now. And I think that's where sport plays a really important role in the process. You're playing sport, you're talking to people about where you want them on a pitch or what you want them to do. And you just open communication that way, and you build those relationships. True. And I think from there, people don't have to come and talk to me at the end of my sessions. But if there's someone that's been on your team or has been in your group in a session and you've made that connection, then I've done my job. You're having a conversation with someone. And I think that's the important thing. And I think it's important to realize you're not going to want to talk to everyone. And that's okay.
That's a good point to make, actually. That's a good point to make,
as well. And I wouldn't expect, if I had a group of 30 men, all 30 of them to be like, hey, Andy, can we talk after this session? But if they've met someone, or even if they've gone home from the session to another friend and been able to have that conversation, just because they've been given confidence through coming to one of my sports sessions or any sports session, I think that's the most important part. And like the 10, me and Ryan were talking, and Matt the other day, we were talking about the 10 for 10. It's just something where if you achieve something together, automatically you've got that bond,
camaraderie, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think that's where conversations become that little bit easier to have.
I completely agree. It's the team sports and that camaraderie, like you said. There's a couple of things that it makes me want to talk about, actually. First up is, it's very true what you say. Someone that you've just met, you might not have the same conversation with them that you would have had after you've just met them, but then you've played a game of sport, squash, football, whatever, because it does break down those barriers, because all of a sudden, all the little everyday life stuff doesn't matter. You're swearing them on the pitch, do this, do that. And at the end of it, it feels like you've known them a lot longer. Yeah. And I remember that team sport mentality, going on football trips with my mates. We went up to Whitley Bay with the sports team when I was like 18 years old. It was like one of my first weekends away. I don't remember any of it, apart from it was brilliant. And obviously, as you grow up, I'm 42 now. And you obviously, life changes. And that's something I don't have. I don't have that team. Obviously, you have a few mates, but everything changes. Everything sort of dwindles a little bit. And you're left with a core of very close people that are in your life. But it's not that same thing of, okay, I go out on Saturday or Sunday, and it's almost like a different family, isn't it? Now I know Ryan, and especially you, Matt, because with your history in football and management, etc. How is that something you've experienced too? That team sport mentality, and then as you get older, it might not be there as much as it used to be, and then finding ways to cope with that. I think Ryan, you still play in the Veterans League, don't you? So you're all right. We might have to join.
I think it was really interesting where Andy said there, you're not going to speak to everybody.
Yeah.
Even though you're in that team. And yeah, I mean, I joined, so I play over 35s because for me, I think growing up around football and playing it so much, like football was literally my life. And then it sort of petered out a little bit, and I didn't play as much, mainly through injury, but also because other things take over your life and what have you. But yeah, for me, being in that team situation and being that sort of camaraderie that you can have, that bit of banter, that laugh, that joke in the changing rooms. And okay, I don't talk to everybody that's in the squad of players that I play with, because there's some that I get on really well with and some that I just say hello to, that's just the way it is. But, you've all still got the same motivation to, when you go out to play and what have you. But it's for, like what Andy said there, it's the same actually to some extent in our group of 10 dads as well, is that I know everybody in that group knows my story, because inevitably our charity are the ones that have supported them. And that makes me feel quite, I don't like opening up to them, because for me, our charities help them. I don't want to, at top.
Do you not want to look vulnerable to the other people?
Exactly. Right. That's how it was to start with. I didn't want to look vulnerable towards those.
Whereas in my head, straight away, I'd probably relate to you more. Like, is that
exactly. Yeah. And people do relate to me because they look at where I've been and where I've come from and the journey that we've been on. And I think people take a lot out of that because they see not necessarily see where I was when we immediately lost Lily, but they've been able to see how we've grown sort of charity over the years and so forth. So there is an air of vulnerability to some extent that I don't want people to talk to me about my story within that group, because inevitably I'm the one that's helped them. But at the same time, I do know there's one or two that I can quite happily open up to, but then there's others that I don't feel comfortable opening up to as well. Even
that makes sense.
Within that same group and we're within that same team, that's just the way, that's the way it is. And I think the really good thing about sport, I suppose, in general, is you're always going to meet somebody when you're in a group. It doesn't matter what sport you're playing, rugby, hockey, football, it doesn't matter. You're always going to find somebody that's on the level with you, that you get along with, or somebody that you can hold that conversation with. And just because, there's another 20 people that maybe you don't relate to in some way, shape or form, doesn't mean that there isn't going to be that one or those couple of people that you can relate to and that you can open up and talk to. It just so happens Matt is one of those who I know I could quite happily sit down and have a chat with about pretty much anything. I don't play football with Matt. I have played football with Matt when he's come and played with us.
Matt was the manager there, wasn't it? Matt, was it? Did you not pick him? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I was playing right back in the changing room. And I think actually looking from it from that perspective, like Matt's gone into management. I manage a children's side, so it's actually completely different managing children in comparison to managing adults.
No, it's not.
I think like me. Matt's sort of theories, I suppose, probably differ slightly to mine as well, because of the way that he has to talk to adults, if you like, as a manager, and the experiences that he's probably had been in teams as well. But I think Andy's hit the nail on the head, really, that doesn't matter if they speak to you at the end, or it doesn't matter if they tell you that they're getting something out of it. Ultimately, if they keep coming and they keep attending and they're enjoying what they're doing, then it's quite clearly serving a purpose, isn't it? And they're gaining, the support from the team members or the other individuals that are attending those sessions as well.
Andy, how have your friends reacted to you opening up? Because me and Ryan probably come from a different angle in the fact that since we lost, I suppose there's been kind of two groups that I've had where they've been kind of, well, no, don't want to talk about that. Or they wrap their arms around you and they'll have a chat with you. So how have your friends reacted to your business startup?
You know what, mate? They've been so supportive. I think it was a shock to a lot of them because, like we said at the start of the podcast, personality-wise, like I go out and I coach, I go out and I play rugby, and I'm this loud person, big person. So I think it's just a shock to a lot of people. But since I've been open about it, they've been great support. And then in terms of when I opened Impactivity, everyone wants to get involved. Everyone wants to support it. And now, like we were just saying, there are people that I know I could phone them now and be able to have a conversation. Listen, this is what's going on. And then there's the others who I know will help with the business and stuff, but I might not necessarily have those in-depth conversations with. I just think it all comes down, like we've said, to that stigma. No one expects your best mate to turn around. And I think I've been guilty of that myself. No one expects your best mate really to turn around and be like, hey, I'm struggling with this. And I think a lot of us are guilty of that. And I think that's why I wanted to.
Is it maybe because you're worried about how they're going to react, and it's like a test of the friendship to a degree, but there's the little balances of power. It's that fine dynamic, isn't there, within the nuances of each relationship? But yeah,
I think so. And I think for me as well, it was a bit about pride, like male pride, I guess.
Male pride,
but I think the minute I've been open with people, I actually feel better now that I can tell my story. And like Ryan said, obviously, because of the way Impactivity's been founded, people are going to know my story, and I don't necessarily have to be constantly going on about it. But I think male pride stopped me from going forwards. And I think that's why I wanted Impactivity to start, to be like, hey, it's okay to have these conversations and not feel like not ashamed, I guess, but just afraid of what people are thinking. The more normalized these conversations are, the less likely someone is to be sat at home going, I can't tell anyone.
You bang on with so many things that you say, just even in just the last 60 seconds when you say normalizing things. So it doesn't feel, because you started off by saying stigma. Now, unfortunately, it does seem to be a lot of the times when you talk about mental health, the word stigma comes up. There is a stigma to it, and people are, maybe a little bit reticent to talk about it. But it's one thing that doesn't really seem to go away. A lot of people are still concerned to even broach the subject because they are fearful of the stigma attached to it. Yeah. And that's something which it's good we're having this conversation more now than we have at any point that I can remember, with the resources that we have to be able to do things like this. But that's still something that we need to tackle more. And I don't understand why it's there. I don't know if it's that same person that maybe gives that little comment, which is just meant in jest, but the other person takes it seriously, and it's really good to talk, as we keep saying. But one thing I think which doesn't get said enough is you can also feel better about yourself, which is slightly selfish, but just listening to the other people, it's just as important to listen as it is to speak. And once again, it's just reaching out and getting in touch with people. Yeah. I think you speak brilliantly, Andy.
Thank you. Well, I mean, like I read something the other day, like if I was on this podcast right now and I had a bone like sticking out of my arm, everyone would know how to deal with that. Get me to A&E, get a cast around it. But the minute you say something that you're dealing with on the inside, no one really knows because they haven't had those conversations. And I think that's where, if you can get to a point where it's like a broken bone, the conversation, it makes it that much easier.
The way I sort of sum it up is that my mental health illness or my personality disorder doesn't define like who I am. Yeah. It just explains it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's the way I look at it is, if you put a mask on and somebody can't see your face, I could say anything and I could do anything because people can't see me. But if I take that mask off, it makes it a hell of a lot different.
It's a lot more raw, isn't it? It's very it's weird that you say that. And I don't know why this is the first thing that popped into my head. But say like you go, you're a bit younger and you go out to a club and someone wants you, girl says, "Oh, have a dance," and you go, "Oh, I'm no good at dancing." You don't want to do it. But then in my head, I remember when I went to watch Leicester City play once, and they had Filbert the Fox, who was the big mascot in his big fox costume, and every club has one. I remember thinking, and I don't know why, I don't know why I'm saying this. The same girl had asked me to dance that night, and I was wearing the Filbert the Fox costume. I'd have been throwing shapes left, right, and centre because you couldn't see me. I'd have just been a really sweaty fox. It's not the best example, but you understand what I'm trying to get.
No, I know exactly what you're trying to say. And do you know what? I've experienced it more with, I've done it with karaoke, where if you're on karaoke and everyone's looking at you, I don't like, I quite like karaoke, and I've got a standard karaoke song, but
what is it?
I'll come back to that in a minute. But what I'm trying to say is if everyone's eyes are on you, I hate doing it. But if I was to turn my back and people can't see me, I could do it. It's just bizarre. I think it's an odd one, isn't it? Because like you say, I've heard that quite a lot, that,
tell you about,
the bloke who does the Hercules, I think it is, at Villa as well. I've seen people say he's actually openly very shy, but then you put everything on so he can't be seen, and he's dancing around like
right. It's true, right? It was more. The first time I did the event for you was the wedding event, and there's like 200 people in the room. And obviously my bread and butter is radio, and with varying figures over the years, but every single radio show I've ever done has had a significantly higher audience than when I'm in a room, talking to a room full of people. But I'm far more nervous or wary until you start and you get into it and you get into your flow. But it's like, wow, there's 100 people and they can see me, as opposed to, oh, there's a few 100,000, but they can't see me, so that's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a strange thing, but that's a mental thing, isn't it? And it's the way that you deal with it. I think going back to something that you said before, I remember one of the first times I ever worked, and sorry to keep using personal examples, but it's the way I can relate to it. I had the audience in front of me. This is years ago, and I literally turned, so I had my back to them, and I was pointing at the door where the actors were going to come out. I was introducing a show, but as soon as I turned around, I felt more comfortable, and the organizer went, "Why are you facing the audience? You're standing the wrong way." It's that whole thing. It's just, it's a strange thing. And a lot of that comes from confidence and just, having those right people in your life and those right circles who can talk you through things.
I think it's, jumping back to sort of baby loss, with regard to men talking I think it's a fear of showing your insecurities.
100%, 100%.
So you do tend to just close the book. If I close the book, nobody can see the insecurity. Nobody can see that I'm upset. Nobody can see that, this. Whereas, like you said there, Andy, if you're sat there and you've got this big lump on your head, and like I say, people will know how they can fix that. But there's such a lack of education when it comes down to what goes on in here. Because ultimately, the only people who know what's going on in there are us as individuals.
And quite a lot of the time, you don't know that yourself, do you?
No, exactly. And that's what I think it comes down to in the sort of long run is the fear of people seeing and you displaying your insecurities.
I think it's something which it will always be there, won't it? You deal with it in different ways. You as time goes by, there's different techniques that you might learn. And again, using this podcast as a resource, for example, if you are watching this or listening to this for the first time, do go and check back on the other ones, because this is quite I think more of an open conversation, this particular episode tonight. And it's great because this is almost, how you would like to do it in the bar, with a pint in your hand. Just we're not even live. This could just be us having a chat. And there might be a silence here or a silence there, or someone nips off to the toilet, or Ryan goes and has a fight with someone. Just a normal trip to the pub. But if you'd like, I think over the other, like we said, it's the end of the second series. We'll have a few weeks off, but all of the episodes that we've done have dealt with a specific area that someone's wanted us to talk about, or something that we felt needed to have some opinion on. So you can go back and listen to all of those. And what we'll do as well, after we did with the first series, we'll do a little mini best of for series 2, which we'll probably be able to get out there in a week or so from now. Can I come back to the Wolf Run for a second, please?
Go on then.
I've got questions. Have you done this before?
What, the Wolf?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you did it 2 years ago, wasn't it?
I've done a few of them. Yeah,
A few
I've
of them.
done a few. Every time I do one, I say I'm never doing that again.
Right. Because I was looking at a video on YouTube earlier after I said to Lena, my wife, I'm doing it and I'm quite excited. I haven't done anything like this for ages. And I said to Ryan on the phone yesterday, if it hadn't been for the fact that I've literally just started going back to the gym, I'd have said, hell no, because I felt weak and rubbish. Like I popped my arm taking changing a tire about a year ago, and I've been using my shoulder as an excuse for everything for about a year. So I'm like, right, I can't say no to this. This is going to be a lot of fun, but also in my head, and this is where I need a pep talk off you, Andy. I'm really worried I'm going to be the last person out of the 10 in the group.
Hey, I mean, I think Wolf Run, like Ryan said, mate, like, it's not about coming last. It's the whole team thing.
You say that now.
Like, if you're doing a marathon, mate, then maybe I'll be like, hey, it's a different conversation. But I think that Wolf Run is just that team atmosphere, mate. And, you know, like I said, I think in terms of using sport, like, I think lockdown made me realize I'm definitely a team player. Like, individual sports are not for me. True. Like, I was going running. I was like, I can't be doing with this. Like, I couldn't get motivated. Yeah. But as soon as I'm with a team, and I think that's what carries you through, like stuff like the Wolf Run. I think you don't need to worry about your fitness. I think being with that team and just that adrenaline, it'll get you through, mate. And like, you might be sore on the Sunday, but hey, you can worry about that another day.
I woke up today, no word of a lie, Ryan. I'm really looking forward to it. But straight away, I'm thinking, okay, well, I've definitely got to get some new trainers then. I watched the video of my 9-year-old Gabrielle on YouTube earlier. She wants to come, obviously now on it. When she saw that big sort of mudslide, it's like
there is a junior one. There is a junior one.
Yeah, I saw on the website. Yeah,
and we did actually have places for it for this year, but we ended up deferring them to 2022 because of obviously COVID and everything. So we wanted to make sure that when we did. So if listen, mate, if Gabriella wants to do it next year, she's on the list.
Well, I was also thinking because it's 10 kilometers, isn't it? So provided
it's only 3. Kids one's 3.
Okay. Oh, it's easy for some, isn't it? I was hoping that we could on ours next week, maybe if we can get some reception. I was thinking it might be quite funny if we could go live on Instagram or do a couple of little progress reports. So if anyone's watching right now would like to request any, maybe Ryan can do his karaoke song at the 5 kilometer mark or something like that. So
that's a good idea, actually. I think we'd have to get one of the marshals to potentially, we could do that, to log on to our Facebook page, and we could do a live video, yeah.
My only issue is wondering if it's going to be safe having your phone with you while you're doing all of that stuff. No. Yeah, no. So this might be a problem.
We'd have to get a marshal to do it. But what I'm thinking, because Dan, I'm not joking, I'm still finding mud now from because I tell you get mud in places you didn't even know was able to get mud in places.
I'm really looking forward to it.
That. So, but it's I know, like I say, I keep saying every time I do it, I always say I can't do this again. I can't do this again because like you finish and you're cold. But
it's a theme we keep coming back to, isn't it? How you feel at the start and that feeling. It's like that feeling of I'm looking from a selfish perspective. I'm looking forward to that feeling of accomplishment because I feel like I haven't had that for a while. And that's something that's what I want. That's my carrot on the stick. Honestly, I'm joking aside. I don't care how muddy I get, how slow I am, how much, fall over. It's just, I'm quite looking forward to that picture at the end that you can show your friends or maybe post up where you got mud over your face and you're having a pint just to feel like you've done something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, that's obviously as part of the 10-10-10, we're doing all 4 of them, which is difficult in itself for the winter one. So you're doing that in November where they're breaking ice on the ponds and what have you. So that for me, that is genuinely actually a bit of a fear for me because I'm not fond of the cold, if I'm completely honest. And I'm not fond of the heat as well. I'm one of these middle of the road sort of people.
What, English?
Yeah, basically. I'll deal with whatever we get. But I think for me, that winter one is really going to push me out my comfort zone big time.
Well,
my comfort zone.
If I make it 3 in one piece in the summer one, I'll be there to support you for the winter one, mate. We're there for that.
Jump out of a plane any day of the week instead of doing that. And Matt enjoyed jumping out of the plane, didn't you, Matt?
I might fall over again by the canal before the winter one.
Andy, you're just before we leave because it's not far off an hour now. So the company, Interactivity. Is that the name?
Impactivity.
Sorry, Impactivity. It's my own spelling here. Could you just tell us about your plans for this over the next 12 months and what you'd like to achieve? And maybe if there's any way that people can get in touch with you if they'd like to get involved or help out or be part or speak to you about any business opportunities or anything? Because I really like what you're doing. I love how you speak. And I really think we should get behind you. And I mean, look, you've just moved back to the UK during lockdown. There's all this upheaval, but it's like all water off a duck's back to you, don't it?
It's got to be. But if you want to follow Impactivity Talking Without Limits on Facebook and Instagram, we run 2 campaigns. So the one campaign is Big Men Can Talk, and that is males 16 plus, and that is where I'll be doing more casual coaching and challenges. So like I said, August 7th, I've got 12 men signed up so far. We're going up Snowdon.
Is that one of the casual challenges, by the way, or is that a difficult challenge?
I mean, I'm gonna say it's casual right now, but ask me when I've finished. I might change my answer. And the plan with Big Men Can Talk is to do a lot of challenges like that, bring men together as a team, and just like the 10 for 10, really get challenges together to get people talking and raising awareness. The other campaign that we run is called Everybody Can Talk. Now that is where I'll be going into businesses, sports teams and schools and telling my story, of my mental health story, my mental health journey, and then using sport and physical activity and team building exercises through a presentation to get kids talking. And like I said, I think it comes down to with a business like this, obviously everyone's like, oh, how much money you're going to make in a year's time. But for me, going into schools, going into businesses, if I get a phone call when I've left and said 2 people have come to us and gone and got support from people like Mind, Calm,
that's the currency,
all of those
isn't
charities, that's essentially what I want my job to do. Like, obviously all the benefits of running a business and whatever are great, but I want, even after this podcast, if we have people go and get support or reach out, then we've done our job. So they're the 2 campaigns we're running. And over the next year, obviously I want challenges to get bigger. I think with me and a few of the lads who are coming on Snowdon had spoke about doing the coast to coast, the hike, or the Yorkshire Three Peaks, just something quick in 12 hours, just something crazy.
When you said coast to coast then, I thought you were like England to America. I was like, that's quite...
I mean, that's a big swim. Like, you can't say stuff like this because it's like out there now and I don't want to get signed up.
Who was it who did that? I read the book. Wasn't it James Cracknell and Ben Fogel? I read their book.
We had,
that was amazing, that was, yeah.
We had some people that skydived a few weeks back for us. And one of them was a grandma of obviously a lady who had lost a baby. And she rode the Atlantic. That was the last big challenge she did.
Wow.
Rode the Atlantic. I can't remember how many people she said there were.
Wow.
Yeah, she rode the Atlantic. Now, I'm not being funny. That's just not for me, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah.
Going back there, Andy, you were talking about the Yorkshire Three Peaks. We did the National Three Peaks last October. And I didn't finish it because I got injured. But I tell you something, that is the hardest thing in the world I've ever done.
Yeah.
It was brutal. It really was brutal.
I was talking to Matt the other day, and when I was joining up with the Prince's Trust, they were telling me about the Ultra Three Peaks, and it was a triathlon at each mountain. So there was like a swim at a lake, cycle, and then the mountain. And I was like, no, I'm not getting signed up for that. So if any of you want to join up to that one, I'll just put it out there.
No, you're all right. Thank you.
Nah.
I'll just focus on climbing a tree in the mud where I next Saturday. That'll be
it.
And on that note, I think it's a good time to wrap things up for tonight. Andy, thank you so much for joining us. I wish you all the best, and we'd love to keep in touch and maybe get you back on in the future so you can let us know how you're getting on. Thank you very much. All the best with everything. We'll link your socials and everything in the description to the podcast too. So if you'd like to check that out, you can find that right now. Matt, all the best with your injury.
I'll see you next week. So I'm on the bag drop.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah. yeah.
And
so
Ryan, I'll actually see you in 3D form next week for the Wolf Run.
Yeah, we'll have to hug it out, Dan.
I know. We're allowed. Mind you, Matt Hancock did, didn't he? So
Matt Hancock did a week. Oh, yeah. There you go.
sorry, I went the whole thing without mentioning that. Right, brilliant. Listen, thank you very much. If you are watching this live, we will get this. We are Sunday night, 9 o'clock. So this will be up late tomorrow, early Tuesday for you to listen back to in its edited form. So enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody. It'd be interesting to see actually, because I know that while we're on, Belgium are currently playing Portugal in the European Championship. So
Belgium are currently winning 1-0.
Well, that's my highlight screwed.
Oh, sorry, Dan.
It's all right. It's all
it's
good.
0-0, Dan. It's 0-0.
Yeah, 0-0. Brilliant. Listen, thank you very much. As always, if you'd like to get in touch, you can get in touch with Ryan and Amy through the Lily May Foundation. And as we keep saying, but every podcast that we do, we're getting closer to doing it now, to be able to see each other at the golf dinner day and also the fun run and the Wolf Run next week too. And that brings us to the end of series 2. We will be back at some point and hopefully in a pub, and maybe one or two of you can be able to join us too if you're interested in that. We are working on it and we will do it, and we're very much looking forward to it. So Andy, we'll get you involved in that. You can come over, you can be doorman.
Yeah, I'm up for that. I'm up for that.
Right, brilliant. Thank you very much, everybody. Take care, and we will speak to you very soon.
All right.